Let's start the celebration out right and cheer for all that is Cardinal athletics. The flag waves as our own Blake Johnson shows us his best moves. So break that huddle. Everybody wants to dance like Blake. Get the camera ready. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. You know, we're out the second time we've done this in our new set. It's a beautiful new set. And last week we kind of got the bugs out. I was told that I leaned too far over. I didn't know what they were talking about. I watched the replay. I looked kind of like the hunchback. I was waiting for a bell to ring somewhere. So now it's better. They got us elevated a little bit more, and I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, and you know, we have been off for a couple of weeks. We got the preview, let that run a little bit, and let everybody get into action. And a lot of stuff to cover this week. We got a couple of football games to talk about. Soccer teams already 4 games into their season. We'll talk about all 4 of their contests. Swimming, three matches in. Cross country's going now. Tennis well underway.
Yep.
So a lot of stuff to get to. We'll get right to it. Start with football. Cardinals had a short week of practice before last week's game against Champlin, and the first 2 games have shown they still have a lot to figure out. Opening their home schedule against Blaine a couple weeks ago, the Cardinals knew if they wanted to have a chance, they could not afford to give up big plays on defense, and they could not get in a big hole early. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. Bengals waste no time striking on the opening kick. Chase Harper fields it at the 16. There's a good wedge set up in front of him. He cuts to his left, and he's off to the races. An 84-yard return for the score. Blaine on the board just 13 seconds into the game. Many of the Cardinal faithful had hardly found their seats. Same score midway through the first. Bengals with 3rd and 11. The Cardinals 28. Great protection for Griffin Fussy. Throws to the end zone. Grant Bogie goes up, makes a great play on the ball, comes down with a touchdown. Cardinals down 2 scores just midway through. Still in the first, another 3rd and long situation. Again, Fussy has plenty of time. Finds Kyle Swanson all alone way behind the defense. 54-yard score. And then those 2 hook up again in the 3rd quarter, that time from 28 yards out, again on 3rd and long. And it was 39-0 before the Cardinals finally get going. Backup quarterback Donshea Perkins calls his own number, runs around left end for the score, and then puts it in the air, and he hooks up with Tanner Tunskey. A nice touch pass. Great job by Tunskey to haul it in one-handed. But they lose this one 39-13 and fall to 0-2 on the season.
You know, we'll talk a little more about it after I get to read a football, which is very exciting. You know, the issue there is that you fall behind so quickly, and I don't think Coon Rapids is built to a team that comes from behind. So I think they needed to make some adjustments on their defense. And against Champlin Park, as we'll find out in a minute, I think they were able to do some of that.
Well, that's definitely true. You never want to get in a big hole early. The Cardinals definitely don't have the explosive type of offense they would need. But the big issues in the first 2 games, giving up big plays and not being able to finish on offense.
Absolutely. Well, the Cardinals hit the road last Thursday hoping to change their fortunes against Champlin Park. The Rebels lost to the opener to Minnetonka 8-6 and then came from behind to beat Centennial in Week 2 to even their record at 1-1. The Cardinals knew they needed to be better defensively and convert more on offense if they wanted to score their first win of the year. The Rebels start with a good position they give to their big horse, Romello Atkins, galloping 20 yards on this play. Just the start of a very big day for him. That led to the first score of the game. Atkins pushing his way across from the 1-yard line. Champlin Park on the board on their opening possession midway through the first. That was the only score for a while. Defensive battle in this one. Cardinals getting their offense going early in the second. Brandon Martin hooks up with Tanner Tunskey. Tunskey turns up the field for 29 yards down inside the Rebels' 40. But the offense stalled, and the Cardinals' next 2 possessions ended with interceptions. This one by Riley Altonen with just over 2 minutes left in the second gave Champlin the ball near midfield. But the Cardinals take it back just 2 plays later. The pass is complete to tight end Estridge Joyce, but Brandon Martin gets in, but strips the ball, recovers it, and Coon Rapids starts again. Brandon Cooper. Yep. The Rebels had a 24-yard field goal late in the 3rd, but didn't find the end zone again until the 4th. It's 4th and 1 from the 4. Chad Costello puts it up. Joyce comes down with it, gives Champlin Park a 17-0 lead. Cardinals miscue adds to the deficit. A long snap, as you saw there, over the head of Martin and back at the end zone for a safety. Coon Rapids avoids the shutout with just under 90 seconds remaining. Martin to Tunskey for the 20-yard score, but it's a 19-8 loss, dropping the Cardinals to 0-3 on the season. I should have known that it was Brandon Cooper myself, so my bad as well. But I thought we saw the defense tighten up a little than the game before.
Well.
Offensively, they're still finding their way, and I think they need to continue to do that if they're going to get their first win of the season.
Yeah, they didn't give up. They gave up a handful of plays over 20 yards. But their running back, Adkins, pretty impressive. He ended up with over 180 yards rushing against the Cardinals. But the offense just couldn't get the job done. And when they got the ball moving, it was the same thing. Miscues, penalties, stalls on offense, and they can't have that.
No, not at all.
But defense played very, very well. I did see some things I really liked on offense. They just can't seem to get it going consistently. Tanner Tunsky on that touchdown, and we've seen it a couple of times already this season. Great job finding yards after the catch. He's got speed, he's got elusiveness, but they need to get him just enough to get him started with the ball.
If they can get Cortez Jackson to the outside, I think that will be a help for their offense because they run the ball up the middle. They get a little, the teams guess that they're going to do that, and they stuff the middle. If they can stretch it out and get that corner, I think they can be successful with the run game.
Well, let's take a look at what has happened around the league for the last couple of weeks. Week 2, it was Andover getting beat up by Osseo, Totino Grace blanking Anoka. And as we talked about, Champlain Park came back from behind. Centennial went up 21-17, or 21-18, and the Rebels returned the next kick 93 yards for what turned out to be the winning score. Andover stayed close with Totino, but Totino gets the victory there. Osseo just slipping past Anoka 27-21, and Blaine putting a thumping on Centennial 39-7 in week 3. So now as you look at the standings, kind of an interesting one that the top 4 teams in the conference 2-0 in conference play. The bottom 4 teams in the conference 0-2. But this week, we will see Coon Rapids playing Centennial, Andover playing Anoka.
Something's got to give.
And the 4 top teams also play against one another. So there are going to be 2 teams remaining undefeated in the conference and 2 teams remaining winless in the conference when we get to the end, and that'll cluster up that middle a little bit more. And believe it or not, we just got school started this week.
I know, it's incredible.
And we're already midway through the football schedule because Game 4
amazing.
Coming up on Friday. The Cardinals back-to-back home games coming up. They host Centennial, probably their most beatable opponent thus far this season.
Yeah, you're going to take it one game at a time, but I think you're right. Coming into this game against Centennial at home, they can clean up a few things that they've looked at from the first 3 games, and it is a winnable contest.
Yeah, and the Cougars, both teams are going to come in looking for their first win.
Yep.
So the Cardinals have the home field advantage, and they definitely got some things figured out last week against Champlain Park. Hopefully they can keep that momentum going and find the keys for the offense a little bit. Tennis team, as we talked about, they were the first team to get things started, and they continue to play a lot of tennis these last few weeks. They lost to Maple Grove, a perennial power, and they did pretty well. A couple of their losses coming in 3rd sets, so could have been a little bit closer, maybe even could have gone the other way. Pretty impressive considering how young this team is and how much they lack experience, especially at the lower levels. Moving on, they bounced back from that one with a couple of wins. First, they beat Spring Lake Park 6-1, and just about everybody winning in straight sets. Allie Bauer winning 6-3, 6-4 at first singles. Maddie Georgie 6-2, 6-1 at second. Hilsheim a 6-0, 6-4 winner at fourth singles. Van Seth and Nelson win at second doubles. Westra and Mochinsky win at third doubles, and I believe that was Mochinsky's first varsity victory. Follows it up with another victory along with Westra. Van Seth and Farley win at second doubles. A big 3-set win for Westra and Everhart at first doubles, and 3-set victories for both Maddie Georgie and Carly Nelson at first and fourth singles, respectively, as they beat the Anoka Tornadoes 6-1. And then they've had a little bit of a breather, long holiday weekend, and then getting school started. But right back in it at Centennial on Thursday, and then they're up north in Alexandria for an invitational on Saturday.
Nice to see their record over 500. Nice to see them 3-1 in the conference, and that's a good start to the season.
Yeah, and this is a program that, again, 20-win seasons the last 2 years, so they've got a lot of stuff to try and live up to, and but off to a good start. Their losses have come against really quality programs. They're winning the matches that they're supposed to, and that's what you need to do in order to be successful at the end.
Without a doubt.
Volleyball team got its season started last week against Chisago Lakes. They beat the Wildcats 25-17, 25-19, and 28-26. Hannah Gonzala leading the way with 11 kills, and a lot of blocks in this one, which is a good sign for this Cardinals club. They're going to be a little bit stronger at the net. You can see Schweitzer had 4 blocks, Hinsey had 3.5, and Harris added 2.5. So played very strong at the net. But again, Chisago Lake's a little bit weaker competition than what they'll see night in and night out. And they followed that up by playing Armstrong on Tuesday of this week, or Tuesday of last week. And they lose that one 25-19, 25-16, 25-15. Not as strong defensively at the net, but they were able to stay in those games, not getting blown out, but definitely kind of showed what kind of level they have to play on if they expect to compete in the very tough Northwest Suburban.
Well, nice to open the season with a win. You took the words out of my mouth, the fact that they did stay close in those games and that loss to Armstrong. And we get to see them on Tuesday. I'm pretty excited to see our first game, to see the volleyball squad.
Well, and they will have a lot of action between now and then. They are at Blaine on Thursday, and then they host their annual Keller Classic on Saturday, and I think they get 3 or 4 matches in on Saturday, maybe even 5. They play a lot of volleyball in the Keller Classic, so that
always a good tournament,
and that should help them, iron some things out. But from what I've seen from Coach Arcand in his emails, he's pretty happy with how they've played thus far, and excited about their opportunity and the potential that they have.
Great to see.
This season. Cross country team started its season last week with the Early Bird in Anoka. And the Cardinals finished 4th out of the 4 teams in both boys and girls. Anoka winning the boys pretty impressively, just 29 places. But look at Nate Muggenberg, 2nd place overall, 17 minutes, 34 seconds. And then you see Breitbach in 11th, Coughlin in 13th, Dunn in 24th, Johnston in 35th, and Josiah Taylor in 36th. Now look at the girls. Talk about grouping. Brina Del Castillo is the top Cardinal finisher in 7th place in 22 minutes and 4.56 seconds. But then look, Rachel Davis, 17th, Oniakaba, 18th, Hedlund, 19th, Ellenbecker, 20th. And there's a difference of 0.2 of a second between Davis and Oniakaba, less than just over a half a second difference between Davis, Oniakaba, and Hedlund. Pretty impressive that they're running together, and that is key for this team to be successful. They still need to move those groups up the rankings a little bit in order to make a dent in the Northwest Suburban and then in the section, but a great start for both the girls and the boys. Nate Muggenberg, 2nd overall. Very impressive start for him. And the girls running in groups, but they want to see those times come down, and I'm sure they will.
Well, and the fact that running in groups, we talk about that all the time, that's their goal is to run in those groups, and they push each other, so hopefully they push each other to those faster times.
Well, the Cardinals will be at the Mega Meet in Otsego on Thursday, and then a Lakeville Invitational a week from Saturday. So big event, the Mega Meet up in Otsego on Thursday is one of the bigger events of the year. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare against some of the top teams in the state of Minnesota. Swimming team, as I mentioned, 3 matches in the past week or so. They started off with one of the perennial powers in the Northwest Suburban. They lose to Centennial 113-73. Some good things to talk about, though. The 200 medley relay team took first. Lizzie Giese, a first-place finish in the 200 free in 2 minutes, 2.64 seconds. Hendrick with 2nd place in the 50 free. Galadriel O'Grady, a first-place finish at 2:01.15 off the board. Giese also won the 100 fly. Tamala King 2nd in the 100 free. And the 200 freestyle relay team took first place as well. Megan Schultze, 2nd place in the 100 breast. And forgive me if this is wrong, but I think that's the one that Coach said was a top 5 finish in school history.
That's great.
So I didn't think it was the 100 breast. Giese also had a personal best top 10 finish in an event in one of the first couple of meets this year as well. So some girls not only doing well for themselves this year, but putting their name on the record books and showing that they're some of the best they've had in school history, and that's pretty impressive. On Thursday last week, Cardinals lost to Armstrong 98-83. First place finish again for that 200 free relay team. Aaliyah Perkins was 3rd in the 200 free. Lindsay Giese 2nd place in the 200 IM. Megan Schulze, second place in the 50 free. Actually, that's the one that I think was the
50 free?
The fifth fastest in school history. But don't quote me on that because I didn't write it down.
I just tweeted it.
Right?
Yeah.
Galadriel O'Grady, they swept diving against Armstrong. Galadriel O'Grady, not quite the 201, but she'll take the first place finish with 192. Juliana Anderson took second place. Hendrick was second place in the 100 free, and Geezy a second place finish in the 500 free. Well, the swim team has a pair of conference meets this week, and it started with a visit from Park Center on Tuesday. The Pirates are another team toward the bottom of the conference standings that the Cardinals were looking at as a possible win to get some positive momentum for their season. And they did it in style, taking first place in 11 of the 12 events. Again, it's the youth movement helping propel this team. Second event of the night, they won the 200 free relay again. 200 freestyle. 8th grader Tamala King sets the pace, getting to the wall in 2 minutes, 19.31 seconds, more than 8 seconds ahead of second place. 200 individual medley is up next, and it's another Coon Rapids youngster leading the way. Freshman Claire Hendrick distances herself from the pack in this race, wins with a time of 2:29.93. Up next, we have the 50 free, and it's the Cardinal senior captain leading the way, Lizzie Geezy, with a commanding victory in the shortest race of the night. She tags up in 57.7 seconds. That's 6.5 seconds ahead of second place. Diving was the only event the Cardinals didn't win. Juliana Anderson scores a 30.35 on that dive, but she has to finish third, just behind teammate Galadriel O'Grady. The Cardinals only had a 6-point lead after diving, but they finished 1-2 in the next 3 events and were able to coast from there to the 98-86 win.
Nice to see the youngsters coming through and performing well.
Oh, that means a lot, especially with how young this or how small this team is.
And props to Coach Donaldson. He sends us the best emails, the most comprehensive, breaking down the events. Really appreciate it. If you're watching, hopefully, thank you very much. We really love that.
Very, very impressed with that, and Coach DeJoy, that puts you.
The gauntlet's thrown, Coach DeJoy.
That puts DeJoy and Storick, who both give me great write-ups on their team's performances. Challenging for that lead. Donaldson.
DeJoy's going to write you a book.
Pretty impressive.
He's going to send you about 17 pages.
The swimming and diving team is hosting Elk River on Thursday. They'll be at the University of Minnesota for an invitational on Saturday. At Blaine coming up next Thursday. Boys soccer team got the season started against St. Francis. This was a good non-conference opponent to start against, give the Cardinals a little bit of confidence coming in. They outscore the Saints 6-1. Galen Tombway, 4 goals and an assist. Vedeste Shirambare, a goal and 3 assists. Dennis Pasker had 3 points in the game as well with a goal and a couple of helpers. Jula gave up a goal but made 5 saves. Volker played the second half in net and made 2 saves to get that shutout. So great way for them to get their season started.
Without a doubt. The offensive outpouring against St. Francis gave the Cardinals some confidence and optimism going into the home opener last week against Blaine. The Bengals were still looking for the first win of the season after trying 2 other perennial powerhouses. The Cardinals were a definite underdog, but knew they could keep it close. They had a chance. Blaine came out strong and possessed the ball incredibly well early on. They kept the Cardinals backed up in their own end, leading to some good looks at the net. The pressure paid off in the 9th minute. Nazar Sharif gets in alone, slips the shot past Jula to the far side to give Blaine that early lead. Well, despite the big advantage in possession time, still a 1-0 game early into the second half. Vedeste, running down the right wing, tries to cut back and trips on the ball. Ref calls a foul on Blaine and gives Coon Rapids a penalty shot. Alex Figueroa makes it look easy. Low shot to the left corner. This game is tied just under 4 minutes into the second half. The Bengals answered just 3 minutes later. Sharif finishes the second time in the game, gives the Bengals the 2-1 lead. Blaine pushing for some insurance. Balls get away behind Jula. Blake Ackerman lowers his shoulder and checks the Blaine player off the ball, but no whistle, no foul. Cardinals get away with one, and they're still in it. That was a big hit. But Blaine gets the insurance they needed. Just a couple of minutes later, Giovanni Podesta scores to make it a 2-goal lead midway through the second, and that opened up the floodgates. The Bengals added 2 more on their way to a 5-1 win.
That's a heck of a hit.
That was a big hit.
Heck of a hit. I don't know what he does in the winter, but
he's working out.
I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can skate, but that was a heck of a hit.
He's working out.
Lowered the shoulder, and like you said, got away with one a little bit there. Unfortunately, the Cardinals came back to earth in their first In their next game, they lose to Maple Grove 3-0, continuing to just have some troubles finding offense. And, it was nice to see that big offensive output against St. Francis, but you get into conference play and you play Blaine first and then Maple Grove.
It's tough.
It's a reality goal.
it's a reality check, no doubt.
Well, the Cardinals started play this week by traveling to take on an Armstrong team in a very similar situation. Both the Falcons and Cardinals had just one win on the year, and both had struggled to find offense in the games they had lost. Both would be pushing to get that turned around and score their first conference victory of the season. Falcons come out flying with speed and using it to pressure the net. Josh Adams on the run here. Spencer Jula comes out to knock it away but can't hold on. Fortunately, Alex Lynch is in position to clear it away from danger. Move to the second quarter, another attack from Armstrong. Second half, that should be. But the pass from RL is just a little bit too far in front of Adams. Jula able to scoop it up easily. Coon Rapids corner kick in the second half. Jesuit Teagarden serves it up. Galen Tomboy, a good header, but Falcons keeper John Slack is in position to make the save. Still scoreless late in the second. A race for the ball deep in the corner. Great effort by Dennis Pasker to cross this one out front, and Tomboy is there, but can't quite get to the ball. No score into the second overtime. Armstrong controlling along the near sideline, and this pass is a little bit off target, and that creates a foot race, and Tomboy going to get around behind Crucial and push the left footer home. It's the only tally of the contest. Cardinals get a huge 1-0 win in overtime, and star of the game, I think Galen Tomboy gets a star for getting the one goal, but second star, if not the first star in this one, is Lynch, because he cleared away the one we saw, and then one in the last 30 seconds of the second overtime. They had a wide open net and they fired at it, and he was standing right there and he cleared it away. It very, very, very easily could have been a 1-1 tie after overtime if it were not for Lynch being in good position.
Big smile on the face of Coach Paco after the game. He was very excited. Even the record at 2-2, and that was a big win for them.
Oh, and his first conference victory.
That's right.
The Cardinals host Irondale Thursday. That's an opportunity. They host Irondale on Thursday. They host Andover on Saturday. So a couple of back-to-back games. Irondale, I think, is very beatable. Andover is going to be a little bit more of a tough contest. But two games that if the Cardinals play the way they're capable of, they should have a good chance to get themselves above the 500 mark. Now let's talk about girls soccer. They started with De La Salle, a team they didn't know a whole lot about except that they were a quality club, and they proved it. De La Salle beating the Cardinals 3-1. Maddie Bloomquist got the only goal on an assist from Taylor Nyland. Gallegos had 8 saves. Ross made 12 saves in that one.
Well, the Cardinals were hoping to find a little more offense when they took the field for their home conference opener against the crosstown rival Blaine last Tuesday. The Bengals had a great year last year, and they were trying to bounce back from a slow start after losing their opener to St. Francis. For both teams, generating offense would be the key. Cardinals get it going early, less than 8 minutes in. Maddie Bloomquist finds Allie Misquick out front. She spins and one touches it to the back of the net to give Coon Rapids a very early lead. Nice goal there, as she was able to open up the scoring. Coon Rapids, well, they had more good looks, but couldn't capitalize, and the Bengals are able to take advantage of their chance midway through the first. Mulaney Felix scores, and the game is tied at 1 goal apiece. Late in the first half, Cardinals created another great opportunity, coming in 2v1. The pass goes to Emily Koss on the doorstep, but the Bengals keeper, Emily Brown, comes up with an amazing save to keep the game headed even down the break. Brown earned her money as the Bengals backstop in this one. Cardinals piling up chances, but the score remains the same until almost midway through the second. Cardinals finally get the bounce they need. Bloomquist finishes. Coon Rapids is back in front, 2-1. Bengals going to turn up the pressure, and it forces back-to-back corners for Blaine. They're able to finish on the second one. Lindsay Bosley putting it home, evening the score on the board. The game was stopped just a few minutes later because of thunder, and it will go into the books as a 2-2 tie. Thunder, lightning, that was lightning.
I was going to say, it was actually lightning.
It was lightning, but thunder accompanies lightning.
Thunder.
Yeah, I know.
I wrote thunder.
Yeah, and you were there.
That was me.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
And this was a game, it was kind of weird. They went up 2-1, and the Cardinals went back into a defensive shell. They were just clearing the ball and playing defensively, and that gave Blaine the opportunity to have a lot of offensive possession time. If that game finishes another 8 minutes, Cardinals might have a chance, but Blaine definitely had the momentum At that point, I thought for the majority of the game, the Cardinals outplayed them. On the flip side, the boys, Blaine was in control almost the whole game.
Yeah.
And it stayed even. It was close. It was a 2-1 game until the last 20 minutes, so they stayed close until Blaine finally broke away. But the Cardinals taking on Maple Grove last Wednesday. They lose to the Crimson 3-1. Emily Koss had the lone goal. Gallegos made 2 saves but gave up 2 goals. Kayla Ross made 10 saves and gave up just the 1. The Cardinals fall to 0-2-1 after that loss. And the girls soccer team knew they had a challenge ahead of them when they traveled to Armstrong this week on Tuesday. After a slow start, the Falcons' offense was really coming on strong. They were coming in off of back-to-back wins in which they had scored 10 goals against solid conference opponents. If the Cardinals were going to have a chance, they would have to limit the Armstrong offense and create some more offense of their own. Coon Rapids getting some pressure early in this one and getting some good looks at the Falcon net. Allie Misquick with a chance in close, rips this one off the crossbar. Bouncing ball is eventually going to be settled by Armstrong keeper Anna Aguado. Midway through the first, Falcons catch the Cards sleeping on the corner. Quick pass to All-State forward Mariah Haberle. She walks in, finds some space, and puts a great shot to the upper corner on the short side to start scoring for the home team. Still in the first, Falcons able to get the ball to Haley Hansen with some open room. She has time. She gets off a good shot to the far corner, just inside the post, and that gives Armstrong a 2-0 lead at the break. Armstrong on the attack early in the second. Haberle shoots this one from ways out, but it's misplayed by Jolivia Gallegos. Goes right through her hands and into the back of the net. Falcons up 3. Cardinals avoid the shutout with a free kick midway through the second. Aaron Jenkins bounced that one off Haberle's head, floats it up and over the keeper, but the Falcons kept the Cardinals from really threatening a comeback. Just controlling the ball through the last part of that game and not giving the Cardinals any chance to really mount an attack and try and threaten that 2-goal lead.
Yeah, they really did it. And boy, is Haberle a good player.
Yeah.
She controls the ball. Her footwork is amazing. It was fun to see. And I know, Coach, we haven't received our 17-page write-up from Coach DeJoy at this point, but I know he's got to be a little concerned. He was looking at this as an opportunity to get that win, and unfortunately, they weren't able to come away with it.
Well, and I thought it was interesting because they were triple and quadruple teaming Haberle early in the contest, but went away from that a little bit later in the game, and she was able to find a little bit more space. They did do a pretty good job of marking her, but on the corner they were still getting set up. They were expecting they take that time, and Armstrong caught him napping, and then the second goal, that's just she shot from a long ways out. There's no way that should be a goal,
right? But yeah, it was.
It was.
But not even goals. Goals aside, I mean, just her ability to feed teammates the ball is incredible to watch.
Well, and the Cardinals did create some great opportunities in that contest, but their goalie pretty good. Not quite. I think what we saw in Blaine's keeper. I mean, Cardinals could have easily won that game like 5-1.
But the keeper kept him in.
The keeper made. We saw the one right at the end of the first half, the diving save on I don't remember if it was Bloomquist right out front, but it was either Bloomquist or Koss. Either way, I mean, just it looked like, oh, here's a goal. No, it's not. It was impressive. It was. Cardinals have the same schedule. They host Irondale on Thursday and they host Andover on Saturday. Again, a chance to try and get this season turned around. 0-3-1, not the start the Cardinals were expecting.
No, that's it. Second show in the books from our new set.
Yeah, and we got to move some things around again next week, but we're going to do our best to eventually get back to live on Monday nights sometime this fall. That's where we'll be this upcoming week and a half. We'll be at football on Friday. That's actually at home against Centennial. Then what's that?
That is true.
Okay. You can go to Centennial. I'll be at the Cardinal Sports Complex. That's where the game's going to be. We get our first look at the volleyball team on Tuesday the 15th, and then football homecoming, hosting Anoka on Friday the 18th. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us, continue to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including the one and only Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Say goodnight.